Hey there, my name is Taylor Sievers. I'm a fiction and nonfiction author. I have two books, a gardening mindset intro to gardening book called You Don't Have a Black Thumb, The First Steps to Acquiring a Green Thumb, and then my novel, Till the Cows Come Home. I'll get into why there's two different covers here in a minute. But this is a romantic comedy novel set in rural Missouri about a rancher and a city girl and the unexpected connection between them, and also how they end up saving their ranch. So first off, I wanted to start this channel so that I could connect with my readers more. It's a lot easier sometimes to update readers in this type of format than kind of planning out a whole blog post or article or social media post or whatever. Sometimes it's just easier to speak candidly to the camera. So I thought this would be a great way to just record little updates about books and send them out into the world. And also, I, like many people, am feeling the overwhelm of creating content for social media as a way to market my books. It can be a lot sometimes. I'm a mom. I also have a flower farm. I'm very busy all of the time, and it's just not, it can be very frustrating to put a lot of work into a piece of content and then it only exists in the world for so long, and then there's all these other reels and everything trying to catch people's attention, right? So it's a lot easier for me to just share a video. If you're interested, you can watch it. If not, it's not a big deal, but it still exists and it still might be put in front of people depending on their own algorithm, right? So that's another reason why I wanted to start this channel. I also just wanted to share the inspiration behind some of my books. You can read more about that on my blog, but this is just another space to share that, and maybe there'll be something come up that I didn't necessarily take the time or think about when I was writing a blog post. I also want to connect with other writers, so if I am an independent author, and that means that I self-publish my books. I do pretty much everything for my book right now. It's not to say that in the future I won't hire out certain aspects, but right now I've done the covers, I've done the blurbs, I've written the book, I've purchased the formatting software and formatted it. I've done all of the things. And I know there's other people like me out there as well, or maybe you're interested in publishing a book. And I just thought this might be a great way for me to kind of share my experience and hear from you guys, maybe in the comments section about your own experiences, and maybe we can connect with each other, follow each other, and build our own little community as well. I also just want to build a community around books and the topics of those books and so on. So this is just kind of a way to conglomerate everything that I'm thinking and sharing and working on and updates and all of that. It's just a way to conglomerate all of this into one space. And so I just thought this video, I would kind of go over the books that I have out and what I'm working on next. So also, as a side note, I do have another YouTube channel, and it is based on my flower farm, which is Sievers Bloom and Farm. So if you're really interested in anything related to plants, especially flowers, specifically roses, you might like to subscribe to that channel, and I'll put a link down in the description below. But this author channel, again, is just going to be more about my books and author updates and bookish type content, if you will. I said I would explain why there's two different covers here to this book. So I published this book in December 2024. It's been out in the world for just a little bit, and I worked on it for a few years, but I originally published it with this cover. So if you have seen this cover, maybe on, I've seen it's already been on thrift books or other places. If you happen to see pictures of this cover, it is the same, they're the same book. I originally was going for more of a cartoony style look, because if you look at a lot of romantic comedy books nowadays, there's a lot of the cartoon-like characters. I probably could have hired a cover designer for a fairly affordable price, but I love all things creative. So I thought, I'm going to take a whack at this and see what I can do. So I fell in love with these cover elements, and I thought I would put them together into a little kind of a caricature, a little cartoon-like cover, right? But as I was marketing the book, it was really hard for me to, some people said, like, when my first inclination was that it was a kid's coloring book and so on. So I really struggled with keeping it the same. And the good thing about being an independent author is that I have the ability to change the cover if I want. There's also some things on the inside that I wanted to edit, which is a great thing about being a self-published author. I can adjust those files as needed. I have the capabilities to do that. Now, we don't want to do that all the time. Like, we don't want to continually keep updating things unless there's some major things. But there's just a few things like some links and all of that, and just various things that came up. And so I decided that, if I'm going to be editing some things, then I would like to change the cover because I was just very not feeling like it was me. I guess we'll put it that way. So this led me to this cover, and I actually took the picture myself. I have a rose and some sweet peas bachelor buttons, grasses, some strawberries, kale, blackberry flowers, and all of that on the cover. I kind of made a little flat lay bouquet, and to me it just speaks romance with the rose petals and all of that. So this is a romantic comedy, so there's a lot of comedic elements in the book. It's very lighthearted at times, but it can also be very heavy. It is a dual timeline, so we do have some flashbacks, and in the flashbacks, the character CJ goes through a lot in her life, and it's very heavy. So it's been hard to kind of market this book because while it is fun and lighthearted, easy read, quick paced, it's also, there's some heavy elements to it, and I really enjoy novels where there's a past and present connection. And so that's what this has in it. There's some unexpected connections in there. And so it's all not just, I guess you would say, fun and games throughout the whole book. And so I felt like this cover maybe captured that more. I would love to hear any comments you guys might have had if you've purchased the book already and what your thoughts were, because it's as soon as I recovered the book, I had some other feedback saying that, this cover really draws your eye in the bookstore and so on. So it's kind of one of those things where we're taking it as we go. This is my first novel, so we'll see how it goes. But I just wanted to be honest about that here and just share why you might be seeing two different covers. So from now on, this will be the one that you'll see, but this one may be floating around out there as well. So since this is sort of an introduction video, I just wanted to share a little bit about myself. So I have always written my entire life. I have lots of little stories scribbled in notebooks and all of that, but I didn't really take writing seriously until 2020. And that's when I discovered podcasts. So my husband had always been listening to podcasts, and I would always roll my eyes at him. And he's like, you guys got to try listening to some of them. I was like, I just don't understand what the fascination is with these podcast things. Well, I ended up finding some podcasts that were related to topics that I really wanted to learn about. And I just didn't know there were things out there that could teach you things in this sort of radio show format. So I ended up stumbling upon some really great writing podcasts, and that just kind of lit a spark under my butt. And I just took off, what does it really take to write a book, to get an agent, to get published, so on and so forth. And so I started out with the goal to be traditionally published. I started out thinking, okay, how am I going to write my query letter to agents and so on? But it wasn't till about a year into listening to these podcasts that I had been listening to the Creative Pen podcast on and off, but then I started listening to it regularly, and she is a self-published author. Her name is Joanna Penn. She is a very big proponent of being an independent author, and she's done very, very well. She has a podcast and a blog and several books out. And so as I started to listen to her more and more and more, it just made sense. I'm a very independent person. I really like to have creative control over certain things. I also love a challenge, and it just made sense to me that self-publishing was the way to go. Now, it wasn't without heavy consideration, but in a nutshell, authors can make more per book from being self-published. Now, what does that mean? That means you are really in charge of a lot of everything. So it's not a easy task to take on. There is a reason why the publishing industry exists like it does. And also, it wasn't until recently that it's been fairly easy for independent authors to really get, access to print on demand paperbacks, and the rise of ebooks was huge for independent authors. So it was not easy to do these things 20 years ago, right? But I did feel like that this was the right move for me in this day and age. And so I just dove right in. I didn't even think about traditional publishing after that. And so, yes, I can make more per book, which is great because I put in more work. Um, but also, it's very challenging, right? I may sell quite a bit less than I would if I had some big publisher behind me pushing my book out there. But there's also a chance that if I got an agent, even if I got an agent, that I may never have a book published because the agent has to sell your book later. So that was something that I learned about the publishing industry that was very interesting. So I guess to put it in a nutshell, I didn't take this decision lightly, but I'm happy with the decision that I made. And so I am diving full force into marketing this book and getting the word out there, which again, why I'm starting this channel. So I will leave links to my books down in the description of this video. You can buy them from my author bookshop. You can buy the ebooks or the paperbacks. The ebooks will be sent to any e-reading device, to an iPad, to a Kindle, or whatever your favorite e-reading device is. The ebooks get delivered through an app called BookFunnel, and it's a really great integration. I have loved purchasing books from other authors through this integration, and it's worked seamlessly. It's been awesome. They are a great service. So you can purchase the ebooks there or the paperbacks, also available on Amazon, and the ebooks are basically available anywhere books are sold. You can also ask your local bookstore to order my book, and they can do that as well. So easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? So that's about all I have for this video. I just wanted to do a brief introduction to who I am. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.